Hello there everyone, and welcome back to Napoleon Total War 3 with this Ottoman campaign. Last time around we had one battle and then a smaller, rather derpy skirmish. And yes, since then, or what we're gonna do today is we're gonna strike out this army. But then I realized something when I actually looked at what the mod has set as the victory requirements, and that is Little Tartary and then Transylvania. Transylvania, we still have a possibility of actually claiming that. So I think we'll go and claim those two, or reclaim that one and take this one if we can, and then we'll go for Rome. But before we go ahead and do that, we need to attack Kutuzov. So since Kutuzov took Odessa, Little Tartary, he has actually split his army. So he's left half as a garrison in the town, and then he's marched half off here. So his previous army, which I thought was way too strong for me to actually put a troops against him, has now been halved, and is perfect size for us to counterattack, take him out here, and then attack the garrison. And I think what we'll do about the taking Transylvania is reroute the new Grenadier army and that guy with all the light cavalry. Even at half strength, it actually kind of puts him in favor of winning this. But yeah, let's go ahead and attack and destroy him here. I'm not entirely sure why my general isn't gaining any bloody stars. Not that it matters that much, but I mean, he's won quite a few battles and he's done a lot of good stuff for us. So I'm wondering why he still is at 3 stars. Anyways, let's go ahead and defeat Kutuzov, shall we? Keeping a very simple lineup today. What we have is the Janissaries in one line, the new model army in one line. We have sappers. We'll place them there just because. Lancers over there, the other cavalry over here, general cannons. We've split the cannons. I have the round shot cannons over here, and then I've got the howitzer over here. The enemy deploys on their high ground next to this house. Although I imagine that the AI... I don't think the AI is going to place their troops here. They're probably going to place them all the way back here for some reason, rather than try to build something around the house. We have a pretty good high hill here, which also gives us a good view of the battlefield, so our cannons will be able to shoot at anything in this area, which will be nice. And then if something kind of is behind the trees over here, then the howitzer can get those. Yeah, let's go ahead and start, shall we? Okay, so we spot the enemy. Just as I thought, they're nowhere near that house. You know what? We'll see if we can take the house. We'll charge the sappers that way. The olden style Janissary troops will march up through there. The new model army will march up, hold the forest. Lancers will go on to that hill over there, and then we've got the cavalry over here. Now I guess I could place them here, and that is what we'll do. You can also bypass around and come around back at the enemy. The sappers will move out somewhere here. We'll move them up rather quickly. See if we can get spikes up pretty close to the enemy. And then they can retreat to actually take control of that house. Troops marching out in not such a close formation on the old Janissary troops, but I think... oh, There we go. There's a mass formation of cavalry and infantry. We've got that massive brigade, which is now actually mobilizing to charge into the forest, which I don't know what the hell they're doing that for. Thing is, normally I'd probably hold the line, but we'll form square with the entire line at this point. We got enemy light infantry shooting at the sappers, suffering 10 casualties over there, but not too bad as of yet. Russian cavalry brigade is attacking 2 of the squares. I think what we'll do, because I'm pretty sure that big square can probably whittle down all the other troops, so we'll drop the squares on the side and form them into lines to fire at the enemy. Spikes have been deployed. You will retreat to the house. You've already lost 20 men due to those Jaegers. So you will just as I kind of thought, the square broke in the face of that massive cavalry charge. I think it might have been that it was overlapping a little bit and that this unit might have fired onto the side of the square, and that might have broken it. But yeah, this Russian heavy cavalry square is about to break the second square, and
our men are running, sir.
We need the general over there. This... oh, shit. Now that one was caught out not being in square. The thing is, the units... the enemy weren't able to run this one down, so he will be able to rejoin. This one was kind of run down, so it's only 100 men left. The old Janissary troops needs to speed up. Looks like they're firing onto the house. They kind of need to get over here. The Russian cavalry is starting to lose momentum now. Probably should have held the line. Could probably have worked better because we would be able to push down a lot more fire. They've lost half their strength. The general is on his way and is going to inspire this unit that is fighting. We're going to rally, and then you're going to inspire that unit, and that broke the Russian cavalry unit. The Jaegers were cut down, and we need to push on the enemy, so we'll push up through the forest and see if we can push that musketeer unit out of the forest, get the lancers up a little bit closer. This guy has only suffered 3 casualties, but he's still a bit concerned. Let's see if we can get you guys to focus on this side of the building. We've got some really big, 2 of those bigger Jaeger units, and not just these small groups. There's 220. Definitely not going to be able to win a normal fight against that one. The enemy is very much occupied here. I'm thinking 1 lancer charge towards here, and 1 lancer charge towards the light infantry. Because when the light infantry they get closer and they get shooting, they're going to be able to cut down these older style Janissary troops. They're not going to be able to withstand that. So we'll have this one charge these guys, and this one charge down these guys. Kind of a disarray here as the cavalry brigade is once again sent back, and the supporting infantry was put into disarray. The Lancers are coming through. And they're able to attack. We just blew down one of our own guys there. We're able to attack the Jaeger units. And cause a massive amount of disarray on the enemy front line. Time to send in this cavalry unit over here. Let's see if we can't gain some ground with these 3 units. And then I'm probably want to retire this one and move that one back. That's one mighty square of Russian units. Oh, the general Mikhail Kutuzov rides straight in the way of our cavalry charge over there. I was sending these guys to deal with the cannons. Okay, this Lancer unit, it taken massive amount of friendly fire, so that's why it's not in
Our men are running for
good shape, and I should probably have retreated it a long time ago. Kutuzov was cut down. The cavalry over here will move back to avoid more friendly fire. And hopefully these 3 units then will just be able to pile on fire onto the enemy as we take control of the situation there. You can go directly for that one. You can go for the cannons. It's a complete mess over here. Oh, the Lancers are back. Oh, they formed square right in front of the firing lines. Not a great strategy.
glorious victory, sir, is soon to be yours.
Surprised that the Russian unit stands for as long as it does. But maybe I shouldn't be that surprised. Our units are pretty shit. That Jaeger unit was routed. The large Jaeger formation over here is the last kind of strong unit they have left. Everyone else is kind of routing at this point. So that's the one we're gunning for. Looks like they sent in the cavalry to kind of stop us from going that way. Then I can send the Lancers from the front. Damn, they've been shooting back and forth here for I don't know how long. And the Russians... well, now they retreat. And then the second charge of the Lance is here. And the Jaegers are done for. They can go through there. And we do have one of the small Jaeger units. Still actually fighting. What we'll do is we'll send all infantry in a general advance that way. And then, you know what, tell the artillery to hold fire. Because I think we hit the unit over here. It suffered a morale blow. You know what, charge through and you'll be able to get through this unit, cut that one down. Hopefully, Kutuzov's army will be utterly destroyed. And we don't have to see them ever again. But given the numbers that I kind of see retreating off the field, I think there will be some of them actually surviving the battle. So there'll be a little bit of a remnant that we'll have to deal with at some point. These guys are leaving the field. We will not allow them though. So the Lancers are hot on their trail and they're about to run them down. Run them down! Come on. They are tired, but just that little more riding into these guys' backs. They are routed and quickly cut to size. And I think this one actually marched over by some of the infantry units. Oh! The Russians really do hold out, don't they? I bet my cavalry unit could have broken that, but we're gonna bring up a Janissary unit, shoot them at close range. Oh, they broke the square? Clever. They reformed the square? Clever. We'll keep the cavalry close. So as soon as the square falters, we'll ride it down, which I'm sure it will do any second now. Let's try to avoid friendly fire, and we'll have the infantry unit charge it. Finally, the battle was won, but it took its time. But it wasn't that difficult. I've had much more difficult battles, so the strength ratio meter was kinda lying to us. Right, with that done, let's go back to the campaign map and see if we can't actually do some good work. I might have been mistaken when I said that the army would survive. Only 129 of them survived. So we killed the entire army, losing only 835 men. And this region has a really high supply rate, so boom! Bye, Kutuzov. We'll definitely stay in the region, but we'll move closer to the actual target, which is reclaiming Odessa Little Tartary. Now they're sending 2 full stacks this way towards what's it called? Memedali. But I think it will be able to hold. Maybe I should send some troops. We could send half the grenadiers maybe up there to aid him, because his army isn't that great. It's the bow army. But let's go ahead and turn and see if we can't make some moves. Make some good moves on the enemy. I've been speculating about this, the breakdown of the alliance of Prussia and France. So Prussia has finally, with the destruction of Oldenburg, all the way up here, means that it could have been that which broke down the relationship in between the Prussians and the French. Well, it actually says they're still ally. They're still ally, which is strange. Maybe it's one of those fixed things with this campaign that they have to be allied with each other. I don't know. It said that it broke, but then again they immediately signed it. I don't know. Right. Well, that doesn't concern us too much. Hopefully at some point they will declare war on each other. We'll start marching this one. It will take us... Besides this, it will take us 3 turns. And... This is kind of a shit army, but I wonder, the Austrians cannot have a lot left here. And I do think the Grenadiers are badly needed up here to support this army. So what we can do is, once the Grenadiers have arrived here, we can take 6 of these units and march them down to help him over here. Right, we're more or less completely back in action with these troops. So we'll march on Odessa Little Tartary. So this is the other half of Kutuzov's army. So we'll go ahead and take this back. We've got a small Austrian army over here. I'm wondering if the Austrians are where they're planning to attack. Also keep an eye on the income. We lost quite a bit of income when we lost Little Tartary. I think that's it. Just go ahead and reclaim this. Also, I like the fact that we haven't seen any more armies turning up of the Russians. So they only have those two there. So now the advantage in number is starting to move over to us. One thing that kind of concerned me is the turn up of French army right here. So I'm very scared of the fact that the France will go ahead and invade me. Because there would be no way, really, for us to withstand that. With that said, let's go ahead and retake this region. I think we'll keep the formation as it is with the two ranks. And if the front line would falter under that heavy cavalry charge, because the 2nd Brigade is in this army, so if it would falter under that pressure, then 2nd line can help out. And yeah, there's nothing more to be said about that. Let's start to march on the enemy. The general in this army, or the captain of this army, is part of a dragoon unit. Once these guys pass the cannons, we'll be able to open fire. Maybe we should bring up the general as well. Keep him close by. Oh, well, the howitzer is able to open fire. Ah, yes, I was able to trade barrage from some country. But the thing is, I think I tried to make this video before and crashed. So I can't exactly remember how or who I actually got it from. But we do have barrage now. So I can increase the rate of fire of my cannons, which, since we have 4 of it, there's no point in not using it right now. So we have a Russian battery over here. Should probably focus in on that. Local partisans make their way straight towards us. I'll send in the lancers to get rid of them. We'll line the troops here. And then the 2nd line. Alright, so the first action of the battle is our lancers riding down a partisan unit over on the right flank. And the Russians' battery being cut down to the point where it retreats off the field. The lancers will ride it down. Once that's gone, I'll tell the artillery to open fire again. We have a lot of Russian cavalry over here. Right, the battery was run down, and that partisan unit was run down to the point where there's basically no one left. They'll retreat, move back up into the hills over there. I think we'll set this cavalry a little bit back there at an angle. There's no point in riding into that mess of enemy cavalry units. There would be a quite strong attack by the Russians here, as they're bringing in infantry, and then close by the cavalry would turn up. I think we'll make sure to gain some ground here. I'll leave 3 units. 3 units as reserve to the main line, and then I want these 2 to go out on the flank over here, and then I want this one to flank right on the road there, just to push down a little bit more firepower upon the Russians. because this firing duel right here was probably going to take some time.
Sir, our general
Bringing
is
the
under
sappers up, placing stakes behind behind our units. I think the round shot cannons cannot fire from their angle, the angle they have. They can kind of just fire over. Oh, I selected the howitzer. The howitzer should pick target as it will. But the round shot cannons should kind of fire into other directions. Looks like the Russians are doing their charge now. We'll hold the line. And hope that the Russians cannot penetrate it. And if they do, we have extra units behind. The Lancers kind of penetrated over there. The sappers coming in. There's a big cavalry unit is now turning up. The big brigade. This one kind of needs to turn in a little bit more to get full power down upon them. Local partisans. We'll go ahead and charge them. Give more of an angle on this unit, and these two will march up. Pretty sure this cavalry unit will just run down the partisans. Massive fire being pushed down upon the Russians. Oh, the enemy cavalry brigade goes to counter-charge over here. But that means that this unit will be able to fire straight kind of into their side at close range, and then we'll do very well. Okay, the Russians are now pushing towards here, which at certain areas isn't that strong. We have loads of Russian troops retreating. Send in the cavalry. We'll see if we can ride these guys down before they come back. I'm gonna send in the cavalry round from the back and see about riding into all of this. And I think we can overwhelm the big enemy cavalry brigade. And we can get it if we attack it from all sides at the same time they're getting fire from the back. And we got all our cavalry charging in from all sides. It's still going strong. It's a lot of cavalry riding around here. One of our unit broke and quickly is getting slaughtered in the middle of all that. Okay, my plan to... Wait, I'm missing one cavalry unit. What are you doing over here? You were supposed to aid over here. Right, hurry over here and see if you can ride the guys over there down. Okay, the other two Lancer units were utterly destroyed by the big brigade, or they were heavily destroyed, I should say. Losing tons of manpower. And even with that, the brigade turns and attacks the center line. However, at this point, it must be said that they've lost so many men that it's all ogre, as they say in the movies. And we had achieved victory. No point in actually riding them down, since this is a town defense, so they will all be lost. But damn, the amount of troops that died in this area right here. I was kind of surprised that they didn't go harder on breaking the main line. I was looking at this unit right here, which had lost a lot of troops, but they held. It might have been The general wasn't actually close enough to support with his influence. But we held, damn, we held. And we slaughtered those Russians. Right, pretty good, because we were able to take back this region and cut down all of Kutuzov's army. So that's good, and hopefully we'll be able to keep this momentum up and maybe claim some good regions and keep a good line against the Russians, and then we can start focusing on my Italian campaign, where we'll bring in the navy to ship troops over to invade Sicily and Naples, and later on take Rome. We have a similar score in this time around, a little bit less troops died on our side. Could have been the fact that Kutuzov was actually in charge of the last army, so that would have gained a morale boost for that army. But then again, I think this army was bigger. He left 2,500 men, and he took about 1,800 to move into enemy territory. I guess the main problem we had in this one was my charge, or my thought that I could break that big Russian heavy cavalry brigade. I mean, the entire Russian army was collapsing at that point, and the brigade was down to red in morale, so I thought if I could focus in all 3 cavalry units coming from all sides, and then, you know, the enemy or my troops being able to fire into the back would break it. But then again, this unit actually moved away, and the problem with Lancers is, of course, once the charge bonus is gone that the Lancers have, then they do not that much damage, especially against heavy cavalry, which, I mean, it's heavy cavalry. You don't get anything better like that. Highest kills goes to the Lancers though, and some infantry units. Experience gained by this, I believe that's a Lancer, which 1, 2, 3. However, they lost a lot of men. Anyone else? This one is also a Lancer. It's always the Lancers. When do my infantry get any bloody experience? We can liberate and create its own region. Well, what's the point of that? So that's good, and with gaining this region, we regain this port. We'll repair that, which will enable us to... I mean, we can't open up more trade routes because no one else wants to trade with us, but at least we are in control of it. And that will... this area will generate a lot of money for us. Not that much, actually. And the wealth of the region is going down, but that's of course because the region was recently looted. The growth is minus 32, which isn't great. Right, there we have it anyways. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it, and hopefully I'll see you guys for the next one, where we hopefully will take on this. And maybe we can push towards the rebels in Kiev, and so on. And hopefully we'll see a war in between France and Prussia. But yeah, with that said, I say as I always say, hopefully you guys enjoyed it, and hopefully I'll see you guys for the next one. Bye!